I would like to welcome our very important guest by VIP Eva Talks, Alexandre Gabriel. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I am happy you welcome to Czech Republic. You are the master blender of Planetarium and owner of Maison Ferrand. Wow, to have you in Czech Republic, it's a real honor for us. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's an honor for me to be here. I love the Czech Republic, so it's always a pleasure to be here.
We are really happy to have you for our interview for newstream.cz. And tell me at the beginning, how did you get into the world of distillation?
Oh, it's a long story. I grew up on a small farm, and my grandfather had what we call the privilege of bouilleur de cru. So you could distill your own crop, your own production.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a small vineyard. And I thought always, while winemaking has been something dear to me since I'm a child, the magic of distillation was always there. And for me to become a distiller and a master blender became kind of a dream because for two reasons. The magic of it, because you create these delicious drinks that I think are wonderful in society for people to share great moments. Not alcohol to become stupid, but like sharing beautiful moments with beautiful drinks is something that matters to me. And I wanted to learn everything about it because I think it is an art form. And the second reason is that it is linked to farming. And it is a great way to make farming sustainable. This is, as you know, farming is difficult, and being from a farming background, I thought distillation and branding and all of this would be magical.
I would say because France is very well known for wine. So I would guess that like the French person, you would go for winemaking. What was the reason you prefer distillation to winemaking?
It's the region I grew up in is Burgundy, so there's wine everywhere, but there's also distillation. Distillation is linked to civilization since early on.
Mm-hmm.
You have great tradition of distilling also in Czech Republic, and in France we make cognac, we make armagnac, we make calvados. So it's always there around the corner. I think it's folk art. It's the art of the people. People love to create these magical drinks, and rum is one of them for sure.
I can agree. Tell me, have you ever thought about doing anything different in your life? I mean, about different career, or was it your dream since your childhood to become a master blender?
It's only afterwards that you connect the dots, to be very honest with you. People who say, I want it since I'm born. Not at all. Why I wake up in the morning is really two reasons. I think I know now by my age, is to be part of a great community on a mission. We are more than a company. I think we're a community, Maison Ferrand, and whether we are in Barbados, as you know, I work in Barbados making rum, and in France. And I think we're a community, and working with people I love and I respect and try to make a difference with beautiful products. That's really the first reason. The second reason I get up in the morning is I'm creative. So I love to create by distillation and blending. And I know that by now. And I got a great also creative team. So make one-of-a-kind rum, one-of-a-kind cognac for me is very important. And I think that was always in me, but you figure it out later on in life. And I'm sure it's the same for everybody who's listening.
Yeah, I can imagine. What does inspire you in your work?
What inspires me? Everything. Let me tell you, for example, I just finished a book, and we'll talk about it later, about the what is Navy rum, 300 years of Navy rum, And so for me, inspiration very often is people and knowledge. And knowledge is people. So if you research, for example, how rum was made 200 years ago, what are the techniques? And now that we are going back, because I do feel there's a new age of rum, and I do feel Czech Republic is central to that, is maybe the leader of that. Absolutely. And I can explain this. And that new era of rum, is actually in a lot of ways going back to very authentic methods of production. Of course, using them as a creation and as an inspiration. Because rum is alive. It's not like recreating something of the past. It's getting very inspired by what was the past when people really cared about quality more than quantity. And this is something that's very inspiring to me. Because, a great rum or a great cognac, as a matter of fact, when you drink it, you got emotions. It has a feeling of taste that gives you emotion that you can share with the people you are with. And that's why we wake up in the morning in this company.
And what's the new specifics of this new rum era?
The new rum era is very clear. Is people going back to rum with texture, taste, authenticity. And so, of course, they're a little bit more expensive. They're more expensive to make. And the Czech Republic is one of the leading countries in that trend.
Wow, and does it mean like people are drinking much more than in the other countries, or is it just they prefer like a high quality of rum, or what does it mean?
That's a great point. It's people are looking for higher quality rum. And it really is that new era and more authenticity. Where is it from? How is it made? Why does it taste like this? And in the Czech Republic, where you have the same movement in France, for example, but I think there's a very long history of love. I'm studying it now between the Czech Republic and rum. In early days, it's similar to some areas in Germany. So much that Bismarck put a tax on rum very high to say, stop drinking rum, drink local spirits. But the Czechs found a way by blending it to still have that rum flavor. And then now, so that taste profile, that exotic feel that takes you somewhere is very ingrained. And now that new era is where people are going to look at something that's got texture. I can explain to you this. In our distillery in Barbados, West Indies Rum Distillery, where we make Plantaret rum, we say when a rum really has delicious taste, we say this rum is rumming. It's a verb. And I think in Czech Republic, people love when the rums are rumming. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. When you got this exotic feel, this texture, this complexity of flavors, where it's smooth and intense at the same time. And that new trend is there. And it's really, this is a country with the most geeks and people who study rum. Often I'm in Barbados making rum, it's very hot and it's by the beach, the distillery, and there's a guy or a lady, I'm from Czech Republic, I would like to visit your distillery. And we are in the middle of the Caribbeans.
Well, I have known that the Czech Republic is like that important market because Czech Republic is known like for beer. So beer is very, I would say, preferred drink, but you cannot compare beer to rum. It's completely different.
It's a different moment.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a different experience. That is wonderful as well.
And how important is Czech Republic or Czech market for rum, for Maison Ferrand and for Plantaret rum?
Well, Plantaret, we export in 121 countries, and the Czech Republic is within the 10 first markets for us. So it's very substantial because when you think there's China, there's USA, and so on. And I think it's true for our company, but also super premium rum brands as well. This is something that you find that there is that research for the beautiful taste of rum in that new era that we just discussed.
And can you compare the preferences, let's say, within European countries, like what Czech people prefer to German people or Eastern Europe? Are there any preferences you see?
I think it's more where it is in the evolution. There's been a lot of rums, in the middle of the 1900s, 20th century. Spirits became more neutral, more simple, more industrialized. And I think it's the same with food, by the way. Think about it. The food became so processed and so sometimes uninteresting, maybe not so healthy. And there is in food a desire to go back to more authentic things. It's the same thing that happens. And some countries are like, for example, Czech Republic is on the forefront of that because of rum, probably because of that long history, and relationship. We see it with Plantaret and the success of Plantaret here. And then some countries are more maybe, behind that and still drinking more neutral rums. But you can see the interest increasing. But in that sense, like I said, the Czech Republic is very important for us.
I would definitely agree that the authenticity is what people are seeking for, because I was just thinking, driving to this interview, that I would say 5 years ago, a few years ago, people were mostly buying bread in the supermarket. Today, there are so many bakeries. I was just driving bakery, because we are looking for fresh bread, for some specialty. So I would say it's the same, like with drinks and especially rum, to find something authentic, not like something you buy in the supermarket. Am I right?
It's exactly that. And it's the same even with cocktails. Think about it. You're young, I'm older, but when I was younger, cocktails would be like something sticky and too sweet and so on. And Czech Republics and other countries, have very high quality cocktails. That's like akin to gastronomy. And the gastronomy, you need beautiful ingredients. And, not only we're a sipping rum, with Plantaray, but great bartenders, and I salute them every time. They're very creative. They just young in their mind. And yesterday we saw some, and they became friends. And they want high quality spirits to make high quality drinks, the same way that the bakers want high quality products to make great quality bread. And your analogy is the same way. Now we talk about the distilleries again, and you know what? We have our own bakery. It's called West Indies Rum Distillery, and that's where we make not bread, but beautiful rum by the beach in Barbados.
Tell me, focusing on quality or higher level of rum, new era, does it mean that you produce less bottles, focusing on quality, or is it still the same amount of bottles, or you can even higher the quality and higher the amount of bottles?
Alors, it's more about the yield of production. I'm going to be a little bit technical with you here. When you make rum, you make it either with cane juice or cane molasses. The traditional way is cane molasses, cane juice also. They're both delicious, by the way, just a bit different. And when you make rum with texture, taste, exotic taste, when you ferment, your yield is much lower. So, for a yield can be a third lower. So you get less quantity of alcohol, but more quantity of flavors. It's even scientific now, we understand. So in Barbados, for example, or Jamaica, we use specific yeast that create beautiful, rich, ripe banana, pineapple, molasses flavors that are super rich. But there's a cost to this. There's no free ride in this life. I think we all know this, right? And so you get a lower yield with your raw material. But it's so much worth it. And that's why these rums are a little more expensive, because they cost more to produce. It's not about producing alcohol. It's about producing beautiful flavors. So yes, you produce less with the same quantity of raw material, and it takes more time. You need to distill slower. That's how you make a better product. But I think it's the same with many other products as well.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about one thing, if I am right. In the past, I heard that French islands in the Caribbean are mostly making the rum from cane juice, and British islands mostly from molasses. Am I right?
You're right. Not? And also, it comes to something that the rum geeks will understand. How do we classify rum? And there's more to this, but you're right. Some of the French islands, and the majority of them, in about 50 years ago, became dominant with making rum from cane juice, and they make wonderful rum. And most of the other islands stayed with traditional rum, making it with molasses. Molasses, when you make sugar, you harvest the cane is crushed, and you boil down the juice, boil it down. The crystals became the sugar you see in the market, and what's left is something most like honey. It's called molasses, and it's very rich in flavors. A long time ago, remember, before we upcycled everything, people said, wait a minute, we can make a delicious spirit with this. And they created rum. The first time rum appears, the name and the product is 1650 in Barbados. The small island of Barbados is the country that is attributed to being at the early onset the creator of rum.
Well, because I thought that you are like kind of combination. You come from France, but you choose the British way of making rum.
Well, it is British. I think it was universal back then. If you think in the early days, and there is also islands that are from that were also Spanish and so on. So there's a lot. And, if you speak with the islands themselves, they're so proud to be their own. Now, if you speak to Barbadians, they want to say, we make rum the Barbadian way, and if you go to Jamaica, we make rum the Jamaican way. And I think people understand more and more the beauty of rum, and each of these islands have a signature flavor. And that's what we try to celebrate with Plantaray. If you drink the XO, or here, this is a new baby, the PXXO, it's the XO aged in a Pedro Jimenez sherry barrel that, makes it a little smoother. The fruit forward is delicious. Well, that's a signature, here from Barbados. And each island, much like wine, if you think about it, has a culture of flavor. And that's the beauty of rum.
And you brought, I think it's Plantaray rum?
Yes.
Is it the same like plantation?
Absolutely.
Have you renamed?
We renamed it. This is something, when I created plantation in 1999. I wanted to celebrate the farm where the cane grows, because remember, beautiful spirits is the fruit of farming, if you think about it. And then I came to realize, working with my team, now we own distillery in Barbados, that the word plantation had some stigma and would be hurtful. Some of my teammates, people I work with every day, and they are from African descent. And you know, I believe that we are products of love. You know, we're not selling weapons. We're making this beautiful liquid with plant array where people can share beautiful moments, beautiful emotions. Last night we were with friends, you know, and I will have great memories of that evening in Czech Republic drinking beautiful rum. So we evolved the name from plantation to plant array. And thank you, by the way, people have really embraced it. Plant array, why? The plant, the cane, and the ray of sun, the sun feeding the cane to produce beautiful rum. And that's why we evolved it, to be true to our mission, you know, and to be part of what is good about sharing good moments and take the hurt out of it if it creates some.
So for fans of plantation, does it mean that the plantation rum is slowly coming till its end?
Yes, the name is being changed. Exactly the same liquid, the same packaging, the same people making it, and you will see the name transitioning from plantation to plant array.
I see. You brought your book. Tell me, what did you write about?
Well, you know, a lot of people say to me, you know, what? Because I work all the time and I don't know what is, you know, is it work? Is it hobby? And they say, what do you do as a hobby? And so I'm very handy. I can fix anything. So I like to do this. But also one of my hobby is to research the way spirits were made. In fact, my wife and I, Debbie, we created a foundation to preserve the technical heritage of cognac and rum. And this is my second book. I'm working on my third one. Wow. So if I don't sleep at night, you know, I'm researching how spirits were made. Remember, you asked me earlier, what is my inspiration? I wanted to know what is British Navy rum. And I knew it was either the father or the mother of rum. But that was what, you know, the sailors were given every day, half a pint of rum. Was it low quality, high quality? The first time they had that was in 1655, 5 years after rum was invented. And they did it. You on a ship, if you were a sailor, you were given rum until 1970. And it was called British Navy rum. But do we really know what it is? I asked question to people and they're like, well, it's a strong rum that you give to sailors. But I thought there were more to it. So a friend of mine, you know, when he told me he was, you know, he wanted to change career, I said, do you want to research seriously Navy rum in the archives of the Navy and not reading other books going? And we did that together. So a book later, we know that everything we knew about Navy rum was wrong. And it inspired me a new rum we call Mr. Fogg, which is a British Navy rum. We found 7 pillars that, to our feeling, defines what Navy rum was about. And so that's one of my hobby, is researching the way cognac, rum, or gin was produced. And that allows me to make better products. Now I know so much more after spending 4 years researching what was, and thousands of archives, and meeting a wonderful man called Mr. Fogg who passed, who was fascinated by it and who had like cubic meters of documents. So that's one of my hobby, really, when I don't make, you know, rum or cognac, and I research books about how they were made 100, 200 years or 300 years ago.
I can imagine how much time does it take to write such a book. Tell me, when writing, do you drink? Do you have your glass of rum?
Very often, absolutely. You know, I like to sip a few glasses, not a lot at a time, but just, you know, if you know them, it's a way to get, of course, inspired and relaxed. My wife always complains because in my nightstand, you know, I'm a master blender. We taste, you know, 50, 60 barrels a day, but we mostly with the nose. And otherwise, you know, and then I put it on my nightstand, the best one. And, you know, when you read or you write, you can smell them. And it's a beautiful feeling and you develop your senses. So, yes, I do this for sure. And, you know, I need it because I'm not such a good writer, to be honest. It's a way to organize my knowledge. And you know, because I'm a distiller and master blender, not a writer. But it's a way to go further into the knowledge to make better products.
What do you enjoy rum with? Is there anything you take rum and, I don't know, chocolate or some sweets or anything else?
It's a great question. Rum can be paired with many other things, and also cocktail with rums, rum and chocolate. And actually, our distributor here, you know, is doing a wonderful pairing with chocolates and rum. And they're doing, this is wonderful with you know, chocolate made here. So that's a very classic, you know, and you see it with as an aperitif also, but also with food, depending on what type of rum, because remember, there's so many types of rums. And so it can be paired also with special desserts, you know, or even some rum that are specific element with cheese, you know, there's many combinations.
You spoke about pairing. What about production? Is at your production anything specific?
Well, your question is very important because remember we said every island has a taste profile, and I always encourage with Plantaray. Plantaray is not like a brand, it's more like a shared adventure. We tell people, hop on. You're going to research with us. You're going to see what we're doing with these books and these rums. And this adventure is also about our equipment. At West Indies Rum Distillery in Barbados, remember the country who invented rum, we have this old distillery built in 1893. There's a gentleman called Digger Anderson. He's been coming to the distillery every day by foot, and he's been a master blender and a blender for 44 years. His father did this job for 47 years. So if you want to know how rum is made, yes, I'm researching in archives, but I also speak with Digger because him and his father is more than 90 years of Barbados rum making. That's the beauty of rum. But also, the distillery has incredible equipment. And there was a still in the parking lot, you know, still is what you make rum with, made with copper, and it looked so old. So I invited a friend of mine who's a coppersmith, you know, the guys who fix and build stills. And I said, what is this equipment? And he said to me, Alexander, this is the oldest still in the world. And he was laying there and said, you think we can fix it? He said, I think so.
So you fixed it.
And we fixed it. And the first time that still made rum was in 1780. People remember what we said when rum became more standardized like other spirits in the middle of the 1900s. This still was not adapted. It would cost it more. But now that we're looking for flavors again, so we fixed it. A friend of mine spent 3,000 hours with a hammer and an anvil. And this still, the first time it made rum, Mozart was in Prague, you know, alive.
Wow.
And, you know, with Don Giovanni. And this still was making rum, a different type of music. We think rum is music. In Barbados on the beach and the Rockley, with the Rockley still. And that's the beauty of rum. You don't create in a vacuum. You create with your roots in the ground. And that's what Plantaray is about, is creation with our roots on the ground. And one of the example with this Rockley, and we tasted the rum, and this is a rum that's huge, you know, with incredible flavors. And really suited, I think, for what people are looking for right now. So I can't wait to have the people of the Czech Republic come and see us in Barbados, see the Rockley. You can touch something that was making rum back then. That was the question
I wanted to ask you, if people, not only from the Czech Republic, but if anybody's traveling to Barbados, if they can visit the plantation.
Absolutely. We can be visited. It stays West Indies Rum Distillery, the home of Plantaray. We are, you know, the main distillery in Barbados. We're right on the beach. You know, my team likes to say we are mellowed by the sea, and the rum is mellowed by the sea because the waves are right there. And we would love to welcome you. So everybody in Czech Republic, come and see us. Come see where the magic happens. We'd love to show you how we make Plantaray rum in Barbados.
I am really enjoying feeling your passion for your work. Tell me, what are you the most proud of in your life?
Wow, you know, it's many things. Of course, I have children that I'm so proud of. And I think as a father, you know, other fathers or mothers would relate. I'm very proud of them, seeing them grow. And also what I'm very proud of is, I think, being part and having built a community of like-minded people who are on a mission. This is something that I'm very, very proud of. My team is my family. And that's why we evolved the name We Care. And this family in Barbados, whether it is in France, and we are now worldwide, you know, and we're a small entity. We grew, but we still have that same spirit. And I think as long as I'll be alive, that sense of community, you know, because we share a purpose, is something I'm very, very proud of. Very proud of that team.
Alexandre, thank you so much for coming and for this wonderful interview.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure.
Cross fingers with all your activities, other books and new ideas. And thanks for having you.
Thank you. I will come back. I love this country. Thank you very much.
This was a great interview with Alexandre Gabriel, owner of Maison Ferrand and master blender of Plantaray rum. Thank you so much, Alexandre.
Thank you.